welcome back. So today is a very exciting day for us because we are putting Mable and Charlie together for the very first time. And it's also the first time that we have two blacks together. We've had two Belgians, and obviously if you watch most of our videos, you know our teams are usually a Belgian and a Percheron. And so Charlie has been doing really good for adapting. Hey! No. That isn't necessary. Adapting, you know, he works with Sally a lot because of their size and their speed. And his partner is Riley right over here. Also, he works great with him. Mable adapts to any horse we put her with. She's worked, when Izzy was still working, she worked with Izzy. You know that Mable normally works with Sally, so she works with her. She works with Jenny, and she works with Riley. So she's just a great all-around horse. And Charlie seems to be pretty much the same. He just walks faster. He doesn't always slow down. Like when he's with Riley, he doesn't necessarily slow down very much to his pace. But other than that, he's being a little bit nippy, but I kind of expected that. He's never been the more dominant horse in a team. Riley and Sally are more dominant than he is in the herd. Oh, that was weird. Riley just did a weird stretch and made weird noises. And Mabel's right at the bottom of the herd. She's second last. Jenny is last. But she's the horse that just wants to be friends with everybody, so she's not a concern. She's not gonna panic because he's being mean or anything like that. We just have to make sure that he doesn't get too aggressive because obviously they need to work well together, and being mean is not how that's gonna work. So they've been standing here now for 5-10 minutes-ish, and we're just gonna take them for a little walk around, see how they do, and as long as it's all good, we'll hook them up to the wagon and get chores done with them. So, oh, I did forget to mention, it's just an easy day. If you watched one of our last videos, you'll know that Mabel's been off for a week and a half. Yesterday I worked her with Jenny, and she did fine. Both of them did. They were ready to go, wanted to work and all that, so those two are back to normal and going back to work now. Riley, too, he'll be back in work probably Wednesday. Today is Sunday. So to ease Mable back into work, we're just doing nice, easy day for her, which is why we're not doing anything too hard today. They just look so nice together. It would be nicer if they were a little better matched in size and height. Like, Charlie has the tall butt, and Mable has the short, round one. And there's about a hand size difference between them. It still looks nice, but as you can imagine, if Charlie was Riley's size, they would be a beautiful team right now. Or Mable was Charlie's size. More like Sally. And Mary and Daisy in the back. Still looks nice. This is so exciting. You can see has his head up quite a bit higher compared to Mable, and that's just how he is. He's a high-headed horse. We're assuming his previous owner got him from a fancy hitch place, and those guys, if you've ever seen them, the horses have their heads up high, so we're assuming that that's why he has his head like that. So, good job. Exactly what I thought was going to happen is happening with them. Charlie is just a tiny bit slower than Sally is. And so because of that, Mable doesn't have to walk too much faster to keep up with him. So they're staying perfectly even, which is awesome. Makes it look a lot nicer too, when they are perfectly even and there's not one horse ahead and one back. We'll hook them up to the wagon and see how they do working like that together. I don't think Charlie's ever stepped that well over the tongue. They're pulling together very nicely. Really well so far. Like I said, because Charlie's just a little slower than Sally, and when Mabel's with Sally, she has to trot every once in a while or walk faster to keep up with her. If she doesn't hear, she's walking her normal speed, and so it's nice. Charlie's not like trying to move forward, they're just nicely working together. We should have done this a lot sooner. So now we have the hay all loaded up, but I wanted to mention something that I didn't mention earlier. I said this was just going to be an easy day for them, and it is. But it's also something that they're both familiar with. We're doing chores, which is something we do every day. It doesn't matter which horses are out. This is a job they do. And so this is already new for them. They're working with a horse they've never worked with before. We're not going to try and get them to do something new or something we don't do that often, like logging. We wouldn't take these guys out logging right now. When we put two new horses together, we want to make sure we do something that they're both familiar and comfortable with. So for them today, it's chores. And maybe, you know, if we ever put Sally and Riley together, it's a little walk down the road, or again, chores. Just something both horses are very familiar and comfortable with. So match up pretty well together. That trot was awesome. Charlie, actually, I said with Riley he doesn't slow down, but he did not go into his full speed trot there. He stayed nice and slow, and stayed right with Mable. They were perfectly even. It looked absolutely incredible. I'm sure it looked great from the front. It also looked fantastic from the back. So Dad also wants to drive them. We're going to take them down the road and we'll be able to get a nice shot from them from back here from what we see all the time.
So, very impressed with Charlie. He's such a sweet boy too. Just so willing to try whatever we ask him. He's still very young. He's only going to be 10 this year, and or 9 this year, I guess. Yeah, that's right. So, you know, he's still learning. In a sense, we've spoken to some very experienced teamsters. They tend to say, 12 or 13 are when a draft horse or a working horse really hits their stride. They know what's expected of them. They know what they're capable of. And so we're still doing that with Charlie. And it's not a confident issue. He's a pretty confident horse. I think he tries to figure things out a little more than he should be yet. And that's not a bad trait to have. It shows a lot of intelligence and confidence when they're trying to figure out what they're going to ask him. He's a little overreactive still, and I think that's just the nature of the more modern breeding that you see in Percherons, Belgians, and the like for the fancy show hitches. There's a lot more action in those horses, whether it's their head or how they move. And so that's a little different for us to get used to. With respect to the first teams that we had, because they were certainly trained to be, sort of that put your head down and go to work type of horse. Mabel's always shown a bit of the fanciness herself. She's always had what we call a fancy trot. And we're not entirely sure of her original training. So as far as we understood, we were the third owners of Jenny and Mable, and there wasn't a lot of background that was given to the previous owners about where they came from and what sort of training they might have had. But we're just having a really great trot down the road here. it's hard to tell from here. And the camera may not pick it up, but I can tell you they're both doing what we call a fancy trot. And, it's a very pretty thing to see this from the sides. And, it's a really nice little pace. It's kind of what we've been working on. You know, if there's a light load or no load and you're either heading out to a job or coming back in, this is kind of the pace that we like. You know, if it's at the end of the day and they're tired, walking is not an issue at all, of course, but you know, as much as there's obviously far more efficient ways to work with use machinery and things like that from a speed perspective, when we're using the horses, we want to take advantage of, you know, their abilities to be able to pass it. Now they're not so much at a fancy trot, but almost a full trot, and they both look extremely comfortable. Moving really nicely. Don't know if the camera's picking up their snorts, but you kind of see it every time their head goes down just a little bit. They're letting out a big snort. So they really enjoy this. And their heads are nice. I'm sort of seeing Charlie do the same thing he did with Sally, and he kind of looks to the left a little bit. He stopped doing that. It was only the first few times. I had assumed it was more because he was a little bit shy from her because of her dominance in the herd. But he seems to have fixed it now. That just could have been how I've been trying to straighten them out here to keep their heads pointed forward. That's not been anything Charlie was doing. But they're both keeping an excellent pace with each other. I can tell you for certain, neither of them adapted this well with Sally. Now, she is a very, as our last video showed, a very high energy horse. And so I happen to like that about her, because it can be challenging early in the day sometimes. The heart that she has is just not something I'm going to try and take out of her or hold back. I know there's some comments and stuff like that ask, you know, why don't we try and hold back our faster horses, and you know, there's definitely an argument to do something like that. Instead, we try and match them up better. So it's not that we're not willing to try and hold back a faster horse and do our best with that. At the same time, we don't want to push a slower horse to go faster than it's comfortable with. And so it's just a balancing act, but lots of fun. Actually, a beautiful Easter Sunday here. Happy, I guess, belated, by the time the video gets out, happy belated Easter to everybody.
Pretty good for only their second time backing up together. And I wanted to mention, I said how at the beginning Charlie was a little nippy, but now he's the complete opposite. He's being super sweet, and we've noticed that Sally does it a lot too. After the horses have worked for a bit and we stop, they always touch noses, or one will go over and say hi, and it's really sweet. We think it's just them saying, like, good job, you did good. They do that to say hi too, we've noticed, especially with us. They'll bring their noses. So that's just what we think it is. It could be something completely different, who knows. But Tess, it's sweet. They're going over to their partner, saying good job. We're done with them, I guess, after we unload the firewood. So this is a great day. These two make a great team. And that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Like working with Mable? Yeah? You don't have to go as fast as when you work with him.